Right guys, so in this video I'm going to show you why I entered this trade, which actually gave me 5 figures, and obviously looking back it could have given me so much more, and I'll show you how I trailed my stop loss and what I should have done as opposed to what I did. But yeah, so give us a watch. Right guys, so yes, welcome back, another video. Firstly, ignore the fact that I'm in a vest. It's in the UK now, I think it's like 28 degrees, so I'm sweating like mad. But yeah, so this is why I entered to get 5 figures. So this trade, well there was 3 trades on, but I got 5 figures overall from the trade. What it basically went to, and there was a secondary entry that I could have got, but I was getting ready for a wedding, so I didn't have time. But yeah, let's jump into it and I'll show you why I entered this trade. So hopefully you can see the screen all right. So let's go on the daily first. 2 seconds, daily. So firstly, obviously ignore this to the left. That's just overall bias. So you can see we've made a higher high here, and we've not took the low out, so we're basically buy bias. So you want to be ideally looking for buys. So let's get rid of them. Let's drop down to the 4 hour, so you've got buys in your mind. So the overall, that is the swing at the minute, and obviously as you can see we've come down, we've tapped into the discount area. So now we want to be looking for the chock, the change of character, which is when effectively the 4 hour changes from selling to buying before we can look at any entries. So let's get rid of that, let's delve down. So let's go big screen. So obviously higher high, higher low, 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 blah blah blah. Keeps going. But you can see a nice change of character here. So this high broke the low, which is tapped into a discount on the higher time frame. And we've not only just wicked it, because if it wicked it, more than likely that's just liquidating the highs basically to go lower. But because we've candles have closed above that, I'm then looking at buys. I'm waiting for it to retrace back a bit to then go in for buys for higher up to take that high out. So obviously we've got, if we go a bit closer, we've got the 4 hour breaker structure here to the buy side, and obviously then you want to wait for it to start to pull back. We then broke this low that pushed the high. We then broke that, so we know that the pullback started. So then you can put your I'm not sure what it's called, but it's your box basically. Let me move that out of the way. It's this box here with the nine squares, and you just put that on for the swing. So you put that on, and then you're waiting for entries. You're waiting for it to come into the discount area, which is the green, the bottom 50%. So it'll all come clearer. So drop down on the 15 minute. So there's the entries. We won't go into them just yet. So yeah. So we know this is the 4 hour break, then we know that we're retracing back because we start to take the lows out of the 15 minute, and then we broke the 4 hour. So we know that we're retracing. So there's no point, you could sell if you wanted, but it's a bit risky. So you just wait for buys. I'll get rid of that one because that one might confuse us. Yeah, so as soon as it comes into this green area, which is the 50%, you then want to start looking for it to change character. And you'll see actually what I did. So we created a trend line here where my cursor is now, and we then broke the 15 minute, so that's the high that took this low out. We then broke that with closures of candles. So that to me was looking for entries. But because we didn't change character, in fact I did get a loss, I think at the start of the week. I did have a loss because I thought once this touched this demand area, extreme demand, I entered here, but then it broke through and it took me out as a break even. But this secondary high, this blue one here, is my re-entry. So here is the 4 hour extreme demand. So we ended up using this candle here as inducement. So inducement is basically a false start of the move, if you like. Yeah, inducement. So we then took the low out, and I was still interested, but then we tapped 50%, nearly 50% of this 4 hour demand. And I was a bit wary because under here we've got a lot of imbalance here. So I was a bit wary, but obviously you've got confirmation before you enter, or at least you should do. So long story short, I basically entered here. It shot up. It went to, I think it was about four grand thereabouts. I left it overnight. And also this is my Asian low and Asian high from the previous day. So I wanted to kind of take the high out, but it didn't. It retraced back overnight, took me out break even. Now this is the annoying bit. Let me unlock it. So I was in the gym. It took me out break even. So that was 4 grand. Took off me. So I could have took it at night. Could have took 4 grand. But obviously I'm expecting high, so I trust my analysis, but I make it safe, so I make it break even. It then does this, as you can see on screen, and I think it's about a pip from there to there. I'm not fully sure. It's about 1 pip. That was 8 o'clock. I was at the gym then, so it took me out. I didn't know about it. I was just getting in the spa. Didn't have a clue about it. I come out the spa expecting my trade to have turned around and gone into thousands again. Only this time it tapped me out, and at the point I looked at it, it was here. But because I was expecting really strong buys, I entered because obviously my bias, it took the 15-minute high. It took, which is this one here. We took the high, and then we'd retrace back into the extreme, which there was an extreme 1 minute down here, which I should have, thinking about it now, I should have covered it, but it is what it is. So I break even on that one, and then I entered on this one, and my target was the 4 hour high, which is there to take out the 4 hour high, and obviously we had the Asia high to take. So I entered that, and what I did with my stop loss was I was very anal because I'd had a couple of losses at the start of the week. I was actually, so how can I do it? So soon as it would move up, I'd put it under the latest candle. So I'd put it under there, and then I took it out. I think I took it about there. It hit my stop loss, and I took a few grand from that. But I actually had a second entry on as well, which was this one here, which I'd entered. I've just moved it over so it doesn't look too confusing. But I put 2 entries on at the same time. One was about 2 pips behind the other one, both at 1% risk, and that one I can't remember exactly where I took that one out. To be honest with you, but yeah, I think I took it out at the high there, but yeah, it gave me a nice 5 figures. I won't divulge exactly how much, but it gave me 5-figure trades from these 2 trades. My target, to give you a bit of a clue, my target at the 4 hour high for these 2 trades, and I did have one in the middle that was 0.5%, so I actually had 2.5% risk, and my target overall worked out to just over £30,000, which I should have left because it would have hit within 3 days. It would have hit 30 grand, but with emotions, and then I was rushing because I had a wedding to get ready for the next day, and I wanted to take profit for the week, so I was rushing, and I still took like a good amount of profit, but I could have effectively doubled it, and if not tripled, when I show you the second entry, which I could have done. So a definite was a nice 5-figure, but because emotions got involved, I wanted to just take money out the market, and that's fine. I did. It was just annoying that obviously it went the way that you want after you took it out. In a way, it's good and bad. So, excuse me. So the second entry, which I wasn't even looking at my phone because I was packing and we were cleaning the house and then we were going to shoot off. But it was good. It was for London Open as well. So ignore these two, and my third was in the middle somewhere. So I'd already took profit at this point. I'd already took, a fair few grand profit. So this was the next. So that was the first swing. So this low here took this high. Sorry, this high that pushed the low into the extreme 4 hour. We actually liquidated the high. We then touched into extreme demand. We then created a new high, which broke the previous high, even higher high, sorry. And then we tapped in, we dropped all the way back into discount area. So, and this is the 15 minutes. So once you know you've tapped into the discount area, and there's not really many areas here to liquidate or to tap in, like imbalance wise, you can then start to look for the high to be took. So this is So the lowest 15-minute point is here. And what pushed that 15-minute? It was this area here. And as you can see, that got broke. So as soon as that gets broke, so that's buy boss, and this is the low. That didn't get broke. So soon as this soon as this chock, this is the chock basically, the change of character on the 15-minute gets broke. You can then look at buying with an instant kind of, you could go down to the 1 minute if you wanted, but the low that broke the high was this low, and we didn't start retracing back until this point, because it didn't break this low. You know that it comes back. So the highest point is there. This candle here then got took out, and then we whacked in a low here. And we also had a bit of a trend line forming, which is there. And we like to use trend lines. I won't divulge into trend lines too much, but you can use them to get better RR because you can aim for liquidated areas. So this is liquidity form there. As soon as you know that liquidity had been dropped and you've tapped in to discount again, then you know that you can enter. And obviously it's alright saying you can have the perfect entry bang on there, but you've got this whole cluster. You've got this whole cluster of orders there. So you have that marked as demand. You leave a buy limit on, and you cover the low as well. You cover just in case it liquidates this as well. And this was a 9 pip stop loss, which is what I was using on the others. Which was 1% for me. So this would have been the second entry, and you aim for the original bias, which is the 4 hour high, and that is 8.62 RR, which for me would have been 12 grand in, and that closed from 8 AM on the 8th, which was the Thursday, which is the day I had the wedding, so I couldn't even enter it really, I was too busy. And then by 4:30 that afternoon, the very same afternoon, that would have been 8.6 R, £12,000 for myself, and obviously depending on what account you've got yourself, but it's still 8.6 R in 8 hours is brilliant. But it's all from higher time frame analysis and a higher time frame target, but lower time frame entries. So yeah, so effectively it works out as if I was watching this, or I covered the extreme on this first one, and then I added these 3 that I had going. There's one in the middle that I've deleted it for some reason. I'm not sure on the figures on it. If I had that one, them 3 that I added after, and then I had a re-entry on the Thursday, then you're looking at a total of 50 grand in 3 days. But obviously due to emotion, I made a smaller 5-figure number, and I missed out on a 12 grand trade here, which was an 8 hour trade, £12,000. purely just because life gets in the way sometimes. And I had a great day, I had a great wedding anyway, so it was just annoying that I couldn't. Having known I would have entered, but that's hindsight for you. But yeah, anyway guys, so yeah, higher time frame had shifted. 4 hour bias is buys. I then was looking at discount area, and I was then looking at liquidated areas, overall like demand, extreme demand. I did lose one earlier in the week because of a false chock, this is a false chock, which is basically, it's a change of bias, but it's false. It's just to create inducement, which I said earlier, which is this area, which is a false start of the trend. And we then took that out, and then we started to look at new 15-minute breaks of structure. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, which is this area here that got broke. And yeah, and then you can look at re-entries. So your perfect entry would have been down here at the very extreme of this, but I was in the SPA at the time. It was a 1 minute. I think within 4 minutes, it took me out 1 pip, and then it shot up, and it would have given me even more. So with the whole lot, in fact with the whole lot, it works out a lot more. Yeah, I think it was 50 grand if I got all 5 trades. But emotions get involved, and with emotions getting involved in life, I only managed to make a smaller 5 figure. But if I was here and I wasn't going to the wedding and emotions were still involved, I would have made around half of what the overall could have been. But yeah, anyway, enough of me waffling. If you could drop me a like and a follow, and just let me know if these videos are helping and whatnot. And obviously my target was the 4 hour high, to take that out before it sunk. And then look, it took the 4 hour high out, and then it started to sink back into we'll be looking at back into discount areas, which is down here. I imagine when Monday comes, we will sink a little bit. We might take some kind of trend line out before we shoot back up. But I'm not going to go into that now. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I will catch you on the next one.